The secret of the English cathedral tradition rests upon the sound of well-trained boys' voices. Every morning, the choristers and probationers come here to rehearse the music for the day's evensong, and it's here that the real work is done. So let's go into choir practice and see if we can find out why the Worcester choir sings the way it does. Down. Don't forgive me for interrupting choir practice, but we've all heard the sound of the Worcester choir. Now we're anxious to find out how it's done. So perhaps I can ask you first of all a few questions about the history of the choir.
Well, there's evidence of having been a boys' choir here since about the 13th century, but the actual foundation, as we know it today, was begun by Henry VIII. And the foundation consists of 12 choristers. We have more than that, you can see. Some of them are singing boys and others are probationers, and they're all educated at the King's School, which was founded by Henry VIII at that time.
So can you tell me the age range of the boys in this room?
Well, I like to get them to start at about 8, normally speaking, and they should leave the term in which they attain their 14th birthday.
So they come along here and they work as probationers?
Yes.
And then they come to be choristers?
Yes.
Now what happens when they come in the mornings? Do you sort of work on the sound that you want with them? And if so, how do you get it?
Well, I have to admit, I don't know how I get it, I think, probably, but I have to admit that when we come in the mornings, we've got to sort of get the sleep out of their eyes, first of all. And we usually do that by doing the music for the day immediately and seeing if there are any problems, and then I can build in any sort of choir training into that, really, as necessary.
Could I ask you perhaps to do a small experiment for us to show us the Worcester sound in 2 different ways? Perhaps could you do a scale whereby they actually change the quality?
Yes, we will try. Let's try a scale to A, coming down from there. If you start with head voice first of all, or so-called head voice, and change when I ask for it.
We can certainly hear a difference there. So you exploit that difference in the way they sing in various sorts of music?
Oh, certainly, yes. The repertoire really demands a certain type of production, in my opinion, anyway.
And will they react to the way you conduct them? I mean, like any good orchestra will react to sort of the strength of the beat. Do they react to the way you give them the beat?
Well, I think they do, yes. There's trouble if they don't.
Could I ask you to do a small experiment, perhaps go up the scale, perhaps, or something like that, and perhaps you could see whether you were reacting to Dr. Hunt's beat or not, you see? He'll show you what sort of dynamic he's after.
Now let's try this one to R, going up slowly.
Well, you don't have to rehearse dynamics, do you? Because the conductor actually puts the dynamics into a piece and therefore helps the interpretation of the music get to the listener. And this is what choir singing is all about to me.
Well, I think so, yes. And all about shape as well, isn't it? I think so much of this comes within the shape that you can give them through your hands and through your face.
Absolutely right, because you paint pictures. I mean, isn't a choir an image of the person in front? It's like looking in a mirror running a choir. It's a terrible thought.
Poor lads, yeah.
And they also sing in different languages, I take it. You have a sort of a run of languages in which you can sing.
Yes, well, we do a fair amount of French music here, so inevitably that appears regularly, and German, of course, is fairly commonplace to them. And we do some things in Italian, and of course the Italianate form of Latin. We've actually got one piece in Portuguese.
So you can sing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6 different languages?
Well, yes, some of those are easier to sing in English, actually.
Well, it's a lot of hours every week for them to rehearse. How many, for instance?
Well, they come every morning of the week, 8:30, until approximately 9:15, and then they come again for an hour before the evensongs that they're going to sing, which is every day except Thursday.
What do the boys make of all this work?
Well, I think you should ask one.
All right. How long have you been in the choir?
4 years. I'm starting my 5th.
Why did you come and join a choir like this?
Well, something to do. It's interesting, and going abroad is interesting, and good fun singing over abroad.
Now, tell me honestly, do you ever get fed up with all these hours of practice and services?
Well, it depends how long they have to be. Sometimes, you know, for very long services, you get sort of a bit tired.
What do you think about while you're singing evensong?
Concentrating really, and watching the beat and trying to get the notes right.
So all real practical things is what you're saying. And what do you want to do when you leave the choir?
Well, I'd like to carry on at the school, because it's a very friendly school. And hopefully, if there's a place, I might like to become a lay clerk.
That's good. Well, they seem to enjoy it, but do you?
Yes, very much so. My whole life really has been devoted to cathedral music, having been a chorister myself at Gloucester, and I wouldn't swap it for anything.